A headline from the front page of the New York Times for every day of January 1934. First New Year's revel since repeal is orderly, the gayest in 14 years. LaGuardia moves to clean up city, starts hunt for graft in bureaus. Tammany organizes the aldermen. LaGuardia asks Albany to give him full power over the city's finances. New Deal is here to stay, President tells Congress. Sees recovery underway. Roosevelt spending $10,569,006,967 to June 30th. New borrowing $6 billion plus $4 billion to retire maturities. Lehman warns LaGuardia he asks too much power, rejects a dictatorship. LaGuardia, ready to fight for powers of dictator, drafts reply to Lehman. LaGuardia tells Lehman he plans no dictatorship, decries political move. Governor Lehman again rejects LaGuardia dictator plan, invites mayor to confer. Postal records burned on order of Secretary of Brown, clerk swears. Lehman and mayor agree on economy bill granting power to estimate board. Roosevelt forces crush economy revolt in House. Gold profit plan studied. Roosevelt claims power to capture reserve bank gold. President confers tonight with Congress committees on his monetary program. President will ask power to take all monetary gold as step to revalue dollar. President plans 50 to 60 cent dollar and $2 billion equalization fund from profit on impounding of gold. Hostile Tammany forces resist LaGuardia's bill in both Albany chambers. Gold bill constitutional, Cummings tells Senate. Early passage expected. Byrd arrives at Little America, amazed by vast upheaval of ice. Steingut sees president, promises to aid Lehman pass city economy bill. House passes gold bill 360 to 40, rejecting changes. New financing taken up. Germans flout League as Nazi tide threatens Austria, Saar, and Danzig. Time limit on gold bill is urged by O&D Young. Support for it in Senate. Treasury asks $1 billion through usual methods. Senate gets the gold bill. Welfare Island raid bears gangster rule over prison. Weapons and narcotics found. Change in city bill looms as workers fight pay slashes. Reich and Poland signed a peace pact. Grave crisis in France as government resigns over bank scandal riots. Nazis ease budget by forced gifts to party treasury. LaGuardia's bill fought by Assembly Democrats. Lehman demands action. Nation honors president at 6,000 birthday dinners. He voices sincere thanks. A headline for every day of February 1934. Britain and Italy offer two plans to rearm Reich. Washington acts to avert exchange war on dollar. Stocks rise, bank rate cut. W.P. McCracken arrested by order of the Senate in airmail investigation. Taxi strikers seize cabs, rip off doors, and force theater crowds to walk. Taxi strike is settled as LaGuardia intervenes. Extra fare to be divided. LaGuardia asks taxi code as men reject settlement. Hotel pickets fight police. Shouting mobs riot all night in Paris. Storm chamber demand government resign. Police fire at them. 10 killed, 500 injured. Riots subside as Daladier quits and Domergue is called to Paris. Strong non-party cabinet planned. Kidnappers free Bremer on payment of $200,000. Wide manhunt is pushed. Air contracts canceled. Army to carry the mails. McCracken evades arrest. McCracken stays in home of Senate officer as offer to surrender is rejected. Nazi state fights Catholic Church to curb its power. 129 Austrians killed in civil war. Socialists declare general strike. Dollfuss bans party. Nazis lie low. Government is winning in Austria. Socialists fight on, hundreds dead. Model Vienna apartments shelled. Socialists renew fighting after retreat in Vienna. Dollfuss offers amnesty. Brown denies mail deals involved any illegality. He will testify Monday. Vienna quiet again. Nazis woo rebels. King Albert falls to death climbing peak near Namur. Body found, wound in head. King's death stuns Belgium. State funeral Thursday. Fell climbing peak alone. Vast crowds in Brussels bow before King's coffin as body reaches palace. 9-inch snow cripples city. Suburbs cut off for hours. Travel hit in whole east. 50,000 dig city out. Many in suburbs still snowbound. King Albert laid to rest by sorrowful Belgium. His son takes oath today. Leopold ascends Belgian throne. Pledged to serve nation cheered. House votes airmail bill after acrimonious debate. Farley contradicts Brown. 9 Dartmouth students die in fraternity house from monoxide poisoning. City battles 9-inch snow. Rail tie-up maroons towns. Zero cold is likely today. Johnson meets NRA critics. Proposes 12-point revision. J.W. Davis scores New Deal. A headline for every day of March 1934. Puyi ascends throne of Manchukuo Empire in centuries-old ritual. Roosevelt asks free hand on money in coming year. New labor plan in Senate. Roosevelt offers Philippines plan, removing army. Dillinger escapes jail. Using a wooden pistol, he locks guards in cell. Dillinger eludes Hunt in 4 states. Kill order issued. New Deal permanent, president says. Asks higher pay, shorter hours now. Supreme Court upholds price fixing. Code delegates hesitate to cut hours, raise pay without price increases. Roosevelt urges return of mails to air companies under strict safeguards. Tariff rule by Roosevelt to aid foreign trade asked by Hull, Wallace, and Roper. Roosevelt will suspend liquor quotas to reduce prices and end bootlegging. President orders the Army to fly mail only on routes that don't imperil flyers. Army grounds mail planes to wait for new schedules. 20% further cut forecast. House votes bonus 295 to 125 after disorderly debate. Defeat in Senate expected. Manny Struhl convicted of kidnapping O'Connell. Banghart gets 99 years. Air inquiry post declined sharply by Colonel Lindbergh. Samuel Insull vanishes. Greeks start wide hunt. Cabinet crisis expected. Lindbergh assails airmail measures before senators. 5,000 fight police in Harlem streets. Mussolini urges German rearming to avoid disaster. 12 industrial credit banks sought in Roosevelt bill. Silver bloc wins in House. President wins auto strike delay. Rail managers accept his pay truce. Trade board assails NRA steel code. Roosevelt hears case of auto manufacturers. Railmen will arbitrate. Police quell taxi rioters in sharp Times Square battle after a day of violence. Settlement of auto strife expected to be announced by the president today. Premier warns France to end Civil War threat. Sees danger of invasion. Violence renewed by taxi strikers who reject poll. Roosevelt wants teeth in stock exchange bill. Seeks speculation limit. House 310 to 72 overrides Roosevelt's veteran veto. Close Senate vote likely. Senate overrides veterans' veto, crippling whole economy program. 29 Democrats desert the president. State senators' letters indicate Associated Gas paid for political work. Wide inquiry on utilities to be demanded in Albany. Move to impeach Thayer. A headline for every day of April 1934. Dillinger shoots way out of trap. Turkish cabinet decides to give up insult to U.S. after hearing in court. Wide public utility inquiry sought in the legislature. Thayer offers explanation. 4 1/4 liberties refunded at 3 1/4 in new Treasury financing. Record set by state bonds. Hitler lieutenant refuses bid as Harvard commencement aide. Assembly votes city bill, drastic curbs on mayor, layman utility plan upset. Rioting Minneapolis mob forces council to yield to demands for relief. 2 Norwegian towns engulfed by waves as cliff falls into sea. Fists fly at rally of 9,000 Nazis here. NRA settles motor strike, workers getting 10% rise. Johnson goes to Roosevelt. Wirt names satellites of Brain Trust as source of his revolution story. Wide inquiry on utilities voted by Albany Senate, Thayer examiner named. Barr acts to oust Justice Kunstler, calls him corrupt. Senate passes the tax bill to raise $481 million more. President welcome back. Russia and Italy slash payrolls in economy wave. President to ask Congress to vote $1.5 billion relief, seeks adjournment May 15th. Authenticity of letters is admitted by Thayer. Stock deal profits told. Japan warns powers on China, threatens force to put end to aid. Paris breaks off arms talks, asking return to Geneva. Curry foes confident of ousting him today. He pins hopes on Hines. Tammany ousts Curry 14 1/3 to 10 1/6. He accuses allies of disloyalty, steering committee to be named. Roosevelt men to guide Tammany on leadership. Put harmony the aim. Dillinger is surrounded in a forest in Wisconsin. National Guard called. Dillinger escapes posses after 2 running fights. 2 killed, 5 wounded. Roosevelt chides nation for not thinking ahead. Scores 30-day panaceas. Machado is hunted here on extradition warrant. Murder charged in Cuba. Radium is found in thunderstorms, drawn from Earth and rained back. City charter revision bill voted as legislature closes in rumpus. Drinking at bars is also enacted. Choate finds bootlegger is active despite repeal. Illicit output colossal. Berlin is jammed for May Day fate. 2 million to march. A headline for every day of May 1934. Our envoy informs Japan we desire treaties be kept. Affirms our rights in China. 4,000 Reds and barricades defy the police in Paris. New York May Day quiet. Johnson plans new drive to revive interest in NRA, not to rely on penalties. Time to stop crying wolf, Roosevelt tells Chamber. Ask cooperation instead. Gunmen kill policemen, shoot down 2 others, and wound 4 civilians. Cunningham dies, fusions control in city menaced. Germany now submits traveler to thorough search on leaving. Britain opens trade war on Japanese in colonies, cuts textile buying 57%. Nazis free fault-finding editor, allow the press limited liberty. McGoldrick made city controller, long Tammany foe. Large banks plan to pay depositors in Harriman and settle federal suit. Huge dust cloud blown 1,500 miles dims city 5 hours. Pier men quit here, mobs on coast riot. Gettle is hunted in gang hideouts of Los Angeles. Robles girl and Gettle safe home. Child chained in pit under cactus. 6 seized as Gettle's kidnappers. 3 Gettle kidnappers sentenced to life terms on quick pleas of guilty. Silver program decided, adding metal to reserve at president's discretion. President to ask Congress for far-reaching reforms, both social and economic. Roosevelt asked control of arms, Chaco embargo, British speed air defense. Bulgaria turns fascist in coup aided by the king. Socialist leaders seized. Darrow board finds NRA tends toward monopoly. Johnson condemns report. Mob of 1,000 raids Jersey Nazi rally. President asks silver base be ultimately 1-3 gold, wants 50% speculation tax. Barrow and woman are slain by police in Louisiana trap. 2 slain, score injured as National Guard fires on Toledo strike rioters. Nazis left pushes anti-rich crusade. Exchange bill agreement provides new 5-man board, flexible curb on margins. Roosevelt ends regulation of the service industries but keeps code labor rule. Roosevelt bars the sale of arms to foes in Chaco and move to stop warfare. U.S. court refuses to enjoin Wheaton on labor election, reverse for NRA and unions. Roosevelt hails new unity in nation in Gettysburg battlefield speech, reaches city to review fleet today. A headline for every day of June 1934. President reviews great naval pageant. 81 warships, 185 planes sweep up the bay, thrilling city throngs with might of fleet. Throngs flock to fleet as city welcomes Navy. 100,000 are turned away. Relief bill gives president funds netting $6 billion. He acts at once on drought. 125,000 board the fleet, while as many more fail. 2 drown, 38 prostrated. British suspend payments pending war debt revision. Note denies repudiation. Dr. Luther accused in inquiry on Nazis. Roosevelt denies danger of famine and crop disaster. Large corporations rush to reorganize on terms of new bankruptcy law. Roosevelt sets security for homes, jobs, old age as New Deal's objectives. Berlin suspends payment 2 weeks on French trade. Wide hunt nets no trace of plane with 7 aboard, feared smashed on peak. Plane found with 7 dead on a peak in Catskills, crashed in woods and fog. Hull proposes to Britain debt payments in goods, lays basis for negotiation. Peak shows $22 billion loss for U.S. in foreign accounts, asserts we must buy more. Reich suspends payments on all its foreign debts, British retaliation likely. Il Duce and Hitler agree on freedom for Austria, oppose rival intents. Drive to adjourn the Congress fails as Senate recesses until tomorrow. Roosevelt Labor compromise voted. 14 killed, 60 hurt as radicals shoot at Havana parade. Congress adjourns sine die after voting House bill. Helps labor and farmers. Hindenburg backs Papen in Nazi cabinet dispute. Move for monarchy seen. Liner Dresden wrecked off a rock off Norway. 4 die as panic grips 980. Anti-Nazis break into Harvard Yard. Reich limits purchases to daily foreign income as trade war threatens. U.S. offers $10,000 to get Dillinger. Hitler threatens counter boycotts of other nations. Gesture by Italy disturbs Albania. Roosevelt sets up board in longshoreman strike. Talks on radio tomorrow. Hitler halts move to ban Stahlhelm. Papen aid seized. Hull puts blame for debt default on Nazis' policies. Heat of 97 kills 3 here. Throngs sleep in parks. Torrid wave grips nation. A headline for every day of July 1934. Hitler crushes revolt by Nazi radicals. Von Schleicher is slain. Rome a suicide. Loyal forces hold Berlin in an iron grip. Hitler executes more rebel chiefs. Revolt deaths put as high as 200. Kaiser's son and Papen prisoners. Hitler firing squad active all day. Fate of hundreds still uncertain. Hindenburg publicly hails victory. Hitler flies to consult Hindenburg after getting Papen's resignation. Reich facing grave economic crisis. Resentment at execution spreads in Germany. Papen keeps nominal post. 2 killed, 115 are injured in San Francisco strike. Troops at waterfront. Hitler to reform the stormtroops, chief peril to him. Hitler sets truce for July in Reich, leaves for arrest. Hess appeals to French to keep peace, but dares anyone to attack Reich. Hitler's stormtroops to be disarmed, reduced from 2.5 million to 800,000. Soviet abolishes its secret police. Johnson offers one code for all minor industries in NRA cleanup program. Johnson hits Nazi killings, says they justify fight for free press in America. Hitler justifies killings as Reich's supreme judge, defies boycott by world. General strike tomorrow in San Francisco. Food is already scarce, services stopped. Tie-up may extend to Portland and Seattle. Unions will ration San Francisco, feeding city and designated cafes. General strike on this morning. Strike paralyzes San Francisco life, but unions allow entry of food as troops help police keep order. Strike leaders seek arbitration, asking that Roosevelt intervene. San Francisco vigilantes raid Reds. Strike now collapsing in San Francisco area. Shots fired at Wagner. General strike called off by San Francisco unions. Troops ready in Portland. 50 are shot in Minneapolis as police fire on strikers. Gas routes Seattle pickets. Ford puts trust in pioneer spirit to bring recovery. Dillinger slain in Chicago, shot dead by federal men in front of movie theater. Government bent on wiping out rest of Dillinger gang. Record heat grips west, deaths to date put at 700. Chicago 105, St. Louis 110.2. Austrian Nazis kill Dollfuss, revolt fails. 147 plotters held. Martial law in effect. Italian Army, Navy, planes ready to act. Savage fighting in South Austria. Starhemberg orders Nazi roundup. Italy holds 48,000 men on frontier. Austrian Nazis routed in provinces. Vienna quiet but heavily guarded. Italy ready, does not expect to act. Austria rebuffs Germany by inaction on Van Papen. Duce reported urging her. Schuschnigg, head of Vienna cabinet, foe of the Nazis. Yugoslavia cautions Italy on intervention in Austria. British frontier on Rhine. A headline for every day of August 1934. Hindenburg is gravely ill. Hitler summons cabinet. Dollfuss slayers hanged. Von Hindenburg dies at 86 after a day unconscious. Hitler takes presidency. Hitler takes presidential power, ending title. Army swears fealty, ratifying election set for August 19th. Manchester bars sales to Germans. Hitler is pressed to give assurance he is not radical. Hitler bars war, asserts that 1918 was lesson to us. 65 miles of torches light route of von Hindenburg to tomb at Tannenberg. Roosevelt, visibly moved in tour of drought area, pledges government aid. Mrs. Antonio to die in chair tonight. Roosevelt nationalizes silver at a price of 50.01 cents an ounce. Promises nation broader New Deal. Estimate of grain crop is lowest in 30 years as result of drought. Dr. Beebe descends 2,510 feet in ocean. Nazi bishop defied again by pastors, arrests reported. Greater drought relief is studied by Roosevelt, would bar profiteering. Kidnappers seize Ontario brewer, demand $150,000. Roosevelt takes charge of drought aid, warning food and grain gougers. 1,200 in city prison rebel for 7 hours. Hitler declares hand was forced by hostile world. 1% tax on gross incomes, some mortgage aid voted as legislature adjourns. Hitler endorsed by 9-1 in poll on his dictatorship, but opposition is doubled. Hitler aims to win 10% who voted no to the Nazi cause. Gang robs armored car in Brooklyn of $427,000. Wide hunt in 5 states. Capone in a cell on Alcatraz Isle. Soviet sharply demands Japan cease aggression and free seized railmen. Reciprocal pact with Cuba favors island's sugar, rum, and many of our products. Dorothy Thompson expelled by Reich for slur on Hitler. Hitler opens Saar Drive, urging France to expect German victory and vote. Strikers eligible for aid, federal relief, heads rule. City business tax delayed. Treasury to use profit of $2.8 billion on gold in balancing the budget. Time to use profit on gold indefinite, says the president. Reich can't pay any debts for years, says Schacht. He demands cut in total. A headline for every day of September 1934. Textile strike is extended to wool and worsted trades. 650,000 now are affected. Textile peace effort fails. Silk workers ordered out. New ruling on bargaining. Richburg predicts 5 million families will be on relief. Southern textile tie-up is put at 50% by unions. Profit held New Deal aim. Textile tie-up short of 50%. Unions strive for recruits. Some violence is reported. Roosevelt names board of 3 to mediate in the textile strike. 2 dead, 24 shot in riots at mills. Reich is revealed building U-boats in foreign plants. Coolidge aides divulge our gun designs to help produce foreign orders. Morro Castle burns off Ashbury Park. 200 to 250 are listed as dead or missing. 182 dead or missing in Morro Castle fire. 375 survivors listed. 94 bodies recovered. Officers will testify at inquiry here today. Morro Castle fire was incendiary. Ship officer testifies at inquiry. Line puts dead at 87, missing at 50. Chief engineer quit ship, did not go to fire post. Convoy holds crew here. Radio chief lays delay in SOS call to captain, reveals strife on voyage. Rhode Island legislators bulk move for U.S. troops. Governor seeks red revolt. City halts all cash relief after the aldermen reject LaGuardia's business tax. All needy will be fed, mayor promises city. Federal funds cut off. Textile mills in South plan to reopen today under guard of troops. Endeavor wins first race, a test of men and yachts. Fleet acclaims the victor. Lottery and relief taxes voted by City Assembly may yield only $15 million. Mayor Cole to lottery as opposition mounts. Public hearing granted. Lindbergh ransom receiver seized. $12,750 found at his East Bronx home. The mystery solved, police declare. New Jersey prepares murder charge against Hauptmann and kidnapping, linked to Lindbergh ransom notes. Lindbergh returning home to aid Hauptmann inquiry. Woman accomplice hunted. Grand jury inquiry opens in Hauptmann case today. Lindbergh's flying home. Colonel Lindbergh saw aid of man who got ransom. Handkerchief sole clue. Hauptmann admits noting Condon phone and address. Lindbergh testifies today. Hauptmann is indicted as Lindbergh testifies. More ransom cash found. Hauptmann bail $100,000. Colonel Lindbergh disguised. Sees suspect questioned. Blade made by Hauptmann found hidden in his cell. Insanity plea is forecast. Trade and income taxes made law by LaGuardia. Other levies are likely. A headline for every day of October 1934. President asks an industrial truce to give NRA labor plans fair trial. AFL wants NRA strengthened. City plans 1% income tax, also levies on estates and mortgage interest. Navy men to guard liners on voyages. Detective Bureau to be reorganized. End of boycott and price fixing considered by NRA. 85 slain in Spanish strike. Radicals cripple country. Catalans seek secession. Catalonia state secedes. Resisting Spanish troops. Fierce battle in Madrid. Revolt is crushed in Spain. 500 dead. Barcelona yields. Colonel Lindbergh identifies Hauptmann by his voice. Murder indictment voted. Yugoslav king in Barthau assassinated by Croatian as ruler lands in Marseille. Europe shocked, fears grave complications. Aids of king's murderer sought through Europe. Sad boy ruler starts home. Inadequate guard for king stirs new crisis in France. Yugoslavs attack Italians. Companions of assassin linked to king's death. French see wider plots. Reich denounces U.S. trade treaty, asks a new pact. 1,156 stay in mine in suicidal strike. Hauptmann on the stand shouts denial of murder. He and wife offer alibi. Mrs. Stoll is found alive. Insane kidnapper named. His wife got the ransom. Hunt for Stoll kidnapper pressed. High bail for wife. Victim bound when captive. Brain electricity heard by surgeons. Hauptmann taken to jail in Jersey. Appeal rejected. Episcopal bishops favor information on birth control. Scott and Black leading by 8 hours at Singapore. Dutch Flyers second, Turner third. Pretty boy Floyd slain as he flees by federal men. Dutch Flyers and Turner finish second and third in air race to Melbourne. Bankers greet Roosevelt with ovation as he offers cooperation for recovery. Jaffe reported to have identified Hauptmann in cell. Japan takes firm stand for naval equality now. 1935 parley is imperiled. Roosevelt action on lynching asked. Siam hopes king will keep throne. PWA asks $12 billion for 5-year works outlay, $5 billion for housing. Hunger marchers routed at Albany, rioting in Denver. A headline for every day of November 1934. Richburg put over cabinet in new emergency council. Roosevelt to end pay cuts. 12,000 put in exile as Soviet enemies. Roosevelt backs Lehman, evasive about Copeland. Moses broadens attacks. Big crowds cheer Lehman and Moses at rallies closing their campaigns. Chiefs of both parties confident. Australian flyers reach California from Hawaii, finishing Pacific flight. 3 die, 27 wounded as bullets sweep political parade. New Deal scores nationwide victory. Lehman wins, legislature Democratic. Taylor victor, Reed and Sinclair lose. New Deal victory in nation grows. Republicans win 3 governorships. Redistricting first New York aim. Flandin forms ministry as Dumerge steps out. Paris quiet under guard. Terrorism and SAR shown by League. City borrows $1 million to avert relief crisis. Plans new taxes in week. Betty Gao coming to face Hauptmann. Foreign exchange curbs, excepting those on gold, are lifted by Treasury. City College ousts 21 student rioters. Roosevelt bars plans now for broad social program, seeks job insurance only. Capital Business Parlay today expected to speed support of the New Deal. Income tax light states now is planned by city, whole program fought. Italy and Austria seek Reich pledge. President sees the nation developing all its power after model of Tennessee. Japan asks ratio of 544 on navies favoring Britain. U.S. proposes arms pact for control of traffic by a world commission. Light from brain glows in darkness. Record arms fund approved in Tokyo. U.S. and Britain in accord as Navy talks reach crisis. Japan to denounce treaty. U.S. note protests Reich's treatment of creditors here. Nazis secretly cut stormtroops. Transfers swell the Reich army. City to vote 2% sales tax. Rise in utility levy likely. Program to net $58 million. Aldermen vote new taxes, 2% on sales, 3% on utilities, and levy on inheritances. Outlaw Nelson found dead from slain officers' shots. Dutch Schultz surrenders. Bolivian army reported in flight on all fronts. May end long Chaco War. A headline for every day of December 1934. Laval bids Hitler to show by acts he favors peace. Bora asks Republicans to reorganize the party to give liberals control. Socialist leaders sanction lining up with communists. France and Reich agree on a SAR payment plan. Pact protects minorities. Pacific Flyers missing after SOS near Hawaii. Wide search for them. Code system will stay, Richburg tells industry. Admits NRA fell short. Davis says Japan upset security of all in Pacific. Fears costly naval race. Big powers halt war talk in Yugoslavia-Hungary row. Tense situation on border. Nationwide raids jail 560 in federal narcotics drive. 15 arrested in New York. Yugoslavs disturb league by threat of lone action, but they cease expulsions. President demands drive by all forces of nation to solve crime problem. 14 dead, 40 hurt, 50 missing in Lansing, Michigan hotel fire. Many legislators victims. Roosevelt will ask laws to take profit out of war. Baruch to offer program. Bora and Nye demand end of big business tie in Republican New Deal. Job insurance by states with a federal subsidy, Roosevelt counsels plan. Russian arrests spreading terror. 6 changes in NIRA sought to achieve labor benefits. Ickes moves to end waste. Federal board rebuffs utility request to join test of validity of TVA. Roosevelt confers today on New York utility rates. $82 million write-up Baird. Courthouse fired as troops kill 2 in lynching mob. Zinoviev and Kamenev seized in Soviet killing, London hears. Army sees apparel and nationalizing munitions plants. Red troops cross Manchurian line and are encircled. Christmas spirit enlivens the city. Aid for destitute. President calls on nation to show courage and unity. City has a gay Christmas. 12 dead, 40 hurt in wreck. Crack Limited and Extra collide at Hamilton, Ontario. Plot to kill Stalin with foreign help linked to assassin. 16 killed in blast on workers' train. Einstein offers new view of mass energy theorem. Japan denounces treaty, Hull reaffirms our policy. Britain and U.S. in accord. Rescuers near 4 flyers on Adirondack Mountain, food dropped by planes.